Live from WTOC, the Southeast News leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Well, I would like to thank you all for joining us here for the news on WTOC Plus. I'm digital anchor Jude Bankley. We start with this. One person is dead after being hit by a tractor trailer on Highway 17 in Beaufort County. Here's what we know. According to the South Carolina Highway Patrol, the crash happened around 8 o'clock last night on US 17 just north of River Road. A Peterbilt tractor trailer moving north on the highway hit a pedestrian who was in the road. The pedestrian died from injuries sustained in that collision. The truck driver was not injured in the crash. South Carolina Highway Patrol is investigating the collision and what led to the pedestrian being on the road. Well, a crash involving a semi-truck has happened in Savannah near the intersection of Reynolds and Washington. Alderman Nick Palumbo posted this picture asking residents to avoid the intersection of Reynolds and Washington for the time being. Savannah police is on scene. We'll let you know when the scene clears up. Staying in Savannah, 2 residents are without a home after an overnight fire in the city. Savannah Fire says their crews were dispatched just before midnight last night to this house fire on Lorraine Court. Firefighters saw smoke from the roof when they first arrived. The fire was put out in about 20 minutes. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but again, 2 residents have been displaced. Well, happening today, a special election in McIntosh County over a zoning ordinance that could impact Sapelo Island. It's about bigger houses being built in the hog hammock community. Now, you may recall county leaders changed the zoning rules for it. Gullah Geechee people are concerned the change would price them out of their homes, impacting the area's history. They gained enough signatures to force a county-wide vote for a referendum to throw out the new rule. All polls will be open today until 7 p.m. This is first on WTOC Plus. Governor Brian Kemp is doubling down on Georgia's investment in school choice across the state. During a press conference that wrapped up just a couple of minutes ago, Kemp said Georgia is now opting in to a federal education tax credit. It allows taxpayers to contribute to nonprofits that distribute scholarships to eligible students. Kemp said it gives Georgia families more power to invest in their own students' education.
This program provides a dollar-for-dollar federal income tax credit up to $1,700 for individuals who donate to authorized scholarship granting organizations, covering private school tuition, tutoring, books, and other expenses.
The partnership with the IRS was made possible by the One Big Beautiful Bill Act signed into law by President Trump last year. The program is expected to start in 2027. Well, happening right now, the U.S. Supreme Court is weighing a case that could impact your right to carry a gun in a private business. The debate stems from a law out of Hawaii. It requires gun owners to get permission before bringing the weapon inside. But Second Amendment supporters argue it effectively bans guns in most of the state.
These laws, if they were being enforced, they would require that only the streets and sidewalks are where you can exercise your Second Amendment rights.
It allows owners to make a choice before they are confronted by somebody with a weapon. So it puts the control in the property owner's hands.
Here in Georgia, you can bring a gun inside a private business, but property owners do have the right to ban them. The ruling could affect similar laws in 5 other states, including New York. Well, today marks 1 year since President Donald Trump was sworn in for a second term, and his administration hit the ground running, rapidly rolling out everything from a long list of executive orders to imposing the so-called Liberation Day tariffs on imported foreign goods. Brian Abel is in Washington to take us through the big moments from the last 365 days.
The first year of Trump's second term in office has brought many changes to Washington, as well as many extraordinary moments here at the White House. One change is the way that various branches of government interact with each other. President Trump has now a solidly conservative Supreme Court that's ruling on more cases as Trump's attempts at expanding his presidential power like never before are challenged, from his uses of the military like the National Guard, his pressure on universities to cancel diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and his immigration enforcement efforts. And when we look at armed conflict, the check and balance of the United States Congress, that is being tested like never before as well. The bombing of Iran, the strikes on alleged drug boats, and the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, those are just 3 examples of military operations that did not get approval, consultation, or even a heads up to Congress before they took place. And I'd also highlight another major change in the American political landscape, and that's the way the Department of Justice now operates. Traditionally, there's a separation between the DOJ and the White House. And for Trump's second term, though, they are lockstep with each other, with the White House using the DOJ in extraordinary ways to investigate and attempt to prosecute President Trump's perceived political enemies like James Comey, Letitia James, and even more recently, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. Then there's some of the extraordinary moments of this presidency. There's the Liberation Day terrorists, the pardoning of nearly all January 6th rioters, the significant immigration enforcement action, the testing of international alliances. You cannot forget the dress down of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office and hosting Russian President Vladimir Putin on U.S. soil in Alaska. And there's the physical changes here in Washington, too, from the demolition of the East Wing of the White House to make way for a new ballroom, to the changes at the Rose Garden and a new name alongside Kennedy at the Performing Arts Center. All of these leading to a remarkable 365 days since President Trump's second inauguration. At the White House, Brian Abel reporting.
We do have a recall alert for you that's being issued for chicken sold in Georgia over concerns of possible listeria. 13,000 pounds of ready-to-eat grilled chicken breast from Susanna's Kitchen are being recalled. The product comes in 10-pound cases with 2 5-pound bags of fully cooked grilled chicken breast fillets. The issue was discovered after a third-party lab reported a positive listeria test. No illnesses have been reported. In health news, flu season is here, and health experts say another uptick in flu cases could be right around the corner. And now the CDC is putting children among the groups at the highest risk of getting the flu. This comes as flu-related deaths among children hits 32 so far this season, and hospitalizations among children have reached a 15-year high. Dr. Frank Esper with the Cleveland Clinic says the best protection for children 6 months and older is to get the flu shot.
Children, especially under the age of 2, they're pretty small. And when they're still small, you get something that's just so inflammatory, like influenza. When it gets into your lungs, it causes a lot of inflammation.
He also recommends washing hands often, using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer, and wearing masks if anyone in your house has cold symptoms. Turning now to a safety alert out of South Carolina. State health officials have confirmed more measles cases, this time at Anderson University in the upstate part of South Carolina. The number of cases in that area are now some of the highest in the country. The outbreaks also spread to the West Coast. Health officials confirmed 3 cases in Washington state, saying children were exposed to a contagious family visiting from South Carolina. All 3 children were unvaccinated. The health department says the family also traveled through the Seattle airport and visited a car rental facility nearby. Now, since last Tuesday, the South Carolina Department of Public Health has reported 124 new cases. That brings the state's total number of cases to 558. Additionally, over 500 people are in quarantine. 85 are in isolation. The outbreak is centered around Spartanburg County, South Carolina. However, cases are spreading.
We have right now the largest outbreak in the US, and it's going to get worse before it gets better.
This virus is extraordinarily contagious. When you look at numbers that began in very small numbers, and now every 4 days, we're looking at hundreds more children infected. Each person that's infected has the potential to infect 12 other people.
State health leaders say nearly 90% of cases are children 17 or younger, a majority of them unvaccinated. Doctors say the best protection is the MMR, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. Well, January is Firefighter Cancer Awareness Month. The International Association of Firefighters reports nearly 80% of their members' line-of-duty deaths were cancer-related to their work. Now, a new test aims to help firefighters detect cancer earlier. Lauren Pastrana has the story.
Eric Johnson has spent the last 23 years as a member of the Hialeah Fire Department.
I'm happy. I'm in remission. The hair's back.
He's battled fires and he's battled cancer.
Every day you live knowing that most likely the cancer will return, and you have to face it. But you make the most of it. Smile every day, pay it forward.
Part of his living every day includes advocating for other firefighters to take that threat seriously.
We've identified so many firefighters, so many risk factors that are attributed to the job, which are increasing our chances of cancer.
He does it side by side with the Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center's Firefighter Cancer Initiative.
PFAS are forever chemicals. They're resistant to water and heat, and they are in nearly everything that firefighters and everyday people are exposed to.
Dr. Aaron Kobitz is the principal investigator at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center's Firefighter Cancer Initiative. The FCI has developed a way to test firefighter gear for these forever chemicals linked to several cancers, including thyroid, kidney, breast, and prostate cancer.
We can take that swab back to our labs to detect PFAS and also quantify the amount.
They do it without damaging or destroying the gear itself, saving departments money, along with the potential of saving even more lives.
It will ultimately enable us to quantify the amount of PFAS that different firefighters are exposed to and potentially link that to biology and cancer risk.
It's going to be groundbreaking for my son, who's a fireman, for my younger son, who's becoming a fireman. They won't suffer like their dad did.
For veteran firefighters like Johnson, the research brings so much hope. Lauren Pastrana, CBS News.
And finally, in sports news, a traditional basketball powerhouse is now the champion of college football. Indiana University fans are celebrating after the top-ranked Hoosiers won their first ever national title last night after beating Miami. It was 27-21 in the Miami Hurricanes' hometown. They were led by a Miami native, Fernando Mendoza, and Christian Benavides has more on the victory that finished an unbelievable run.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercepted! Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
That interception by Indiana's Jamari Sharp with 44 seconds to play against the Miami Hurricanes was the Hoosiers' final step to cap off a miracle journey to the top of college football.
We won the national championship at Indiana University. It can be done.
Under head coach Curt Cignetti, Indiana won their first national championship and ended their perfect 16-0 season in Miami, making it hard to believe that they entered the year as the losingest program in college football history.
They hand it off to the fullback.
And Indiana took control fast in the first half.
Touchdown, Indiana!
But in the second, the Hurricanes stayed on the Hoosiers' heels.
Fletcher breaks free. Mark Fletcher in the foot race. Miami touchdown!
And the Canes came back to life with 2 touchdowns from running back Mark Fletcher.
Fletcher walks in. Miami touchdown. What a response.
But leave it to the Hoosiers star QB, Fernando Mendoza, to come up big when it mattered most.
Mendoza weaves his way first and goal, diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
That drive and dive on fourth down proved why Mendoza is this year's Heisman Trophy winner.
We didn't make it this far, not to lay it on the line. Fourth down, we trust our guys, we trust our O-line. I would die for my guys in the field, same way they do for myself. We put on the line, and we got that dub. Let's go. Who, Jack?
The win is even more personal for Mendoza, who grew up within walking distance from the U and was denied a walk-on spot on the team. He celebrated on the field with his family, embracing his mother, who has multiple sclerosis. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami Gardens.
Yeah, absolutely unreal sports story this year. Just to put things into perspective a little bit, before Curt Cignetti joined the team 2 years ago, Indiana was the losingest program in FBS history. I saw this stat, absolutely crazy. From 1899 to 2024, Indiana University won 3 bowl games, and in the last 3 weeks, they've won 3 bowl games. So just to put things into context right there, they've won as many bowl games as they have in over a century of their previous football. I should also note a Savannah native was on that champion Hoosiers team. Huge congrats to the Savannah Christian grad Mark Langston, who is the Hoosiers long snapper. So great to see a local student win a national title. All right, and with that, we are going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus. We appreciate y'all spending part of your afternoon with us. We'll be back in just about 15 minutes for the First Alert Weather Show with Dave Turley right here on WTOC Plus. He just put a note in our newsroom communications channel, potential for wintry precipitation this week. So he'll be talking about that. If you want to plan ahead, if you have any outdoor plans, definitely bundle up. But Dave Turley will have an extended look at the forecast coming up in just a couple minutes here on WTOC Plus. In the meantime, you can always head on over to our website for the latest updates at WTOC.com. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and here's Local News Live.